Benedict in Trinidad. With me this morning I have Father John Pereira.
I am the abbot of the monastery. I was elected abbot in the year 2003, and our term as abbot is for 8 years. I was re-elected in 2011, so I'm on to my second term. In the early days of the monastery, when someone was elected abbot, you were elected for life. But in more recent times, we have changed our constitutions to give the brothers an opportunity if they would like to change their leadership.
What is some of the qualifications for you to become abbot?
The role of abbot is really the role of a spiritual father, and it's basically the qualities of listening, of attentiveness to the brothers, to the community, to the needs of the place. It's basically a leadership role. So my role here is to lead this community here at Mount St. Benedict into a way that would be faithful to our spirituality, to our Father, who is St. Benedict. St. Benedict lived 1500 years ago in Italy. As a young man studying law in Rome, he became disillusioned with the hedonism and the materialism of the time, and he actually abandoned his formal studies. He left his home and he went into the wilderness to live as a hermit, where he spent 3 years taking with him his scripture, and it was there in the cave at Subiaco that he was able to come to a deeper understanding of the true meaning of life. And out of that, eventually, he founded a community at a place in Italy called Cassino. It's Monte Cassino. Benedictines traditionally build their monasteries on high places, like here at Mount St. Benedict. And while he was the superior of the monks at Monte Cassino, he wrote a rule, and we call it today the Rule of St. Benedict, and this is the rule that we follow here. It has come down to us for the past 1500 years, and there are thousands of men and women who live in communities like this all over the world. There is a community of women, for example, in St. Lucia, who follow this way of life. We call ourselves Benedictines. So we here who live here are Benedictine monks, and the women call themselves Benedictine nuns or Benedictine sisters, and we are established in all the continents of the world. I've recently come back from a meeting in Israel, where we spent a week meeting with the monasteries in Israel. There are 4 monasteries there, and also monasteries that belong to our particular congregation.
What is the rule?
The rule of St. Benedict is the thinking and the spirituality of St. Benedict, which is based on the scriptures. It is actually a document about the size of the Gospel of St. Matthew. There are 72 chapters, and these chapters expose some particular aspect of our spirituality. The longest chapter in the Rule of St. Benedict is the chapter on humility. And for us Benedictine monks, that is the key virtue, the virtue of humility, to be opened. The very first word in the Rule of St. Benedict is the word listen. So this is a very important aspect of our spirituality here. Listening. Listening to God, listening to the brothers in community, listening to the pilgrims who visit the monastery every day.
Okay, I thought it was going to be one basic rule, but it's a book.
You can call it a book, you can call it a book. It's a series of writings, which are the reflections of St. Benedict, exposing to his monks a way of living based on the gospel, based on the scriptures.
Tell us a little bit about the history of Mount St. Benedict here in Trinidad.
The first monks to set up this community came in 1912. It was October the 6th. So just this month we celebrated our 102nd anniversary. 2 years ago we had a centenary anniversary. And the monks who came from a monastery in Brazil, in a place called Bahia. This monastery in Brazil was founded in 1582 by Portuguese monks, and it is actually the oldest Benedictine monastery outside of Europe. And at the time, in the early 20th century, there was the threat of religious persecution by an anti-clerical government who, in the name of progress, was seizing church property and properties of religious communities. And so there was a threat looming very large, and the abbot, or the leader, the spiritual guide of the monks in Bahia, wrote to the Archbishop of Port of Spain a letter asking if the monks would be welcomed into Trinidad, because he was looking for a place that had a certain sense of political stability at the time, and Trinidad being under British colonial rule, he sensed that there would be some level of stability here, and he was looking for a place where his monks could escape in the event of persecution. The Archbishop at the time, John Pius Dowling, responded that they would be welcome, provided that they would assist with the establishment of parochial life in the diocese at the time, assisting, to help set up the church here. And the monks agreed. And so in 1911, Dom Manuel de Caini, the abbot of the monastery in Brazil, came to visit Trinidad to explore the possibility. And while he was here, he was invited to view several properties on the island, and including a property at Aripo, and eventually he settled for this spot. I think he was overawed by the beauty of the scenery, He was also what caught his eye as well was the fact that in the hills here there are springs that provide water. And I remember while he was serving at a certain monastery in Brazil, one of his difficulties there was water. They couldn't get water. And so he made it certain that when he came here he would not have that problem. And so on the 17th of January 2012, he was brought to this spot by the owner of the estate, Mr. Gomez at the time, and he actually fell in love with the place, And so he made arrangements that he would buy and purchase this property. And so when he returned to Brazil, he met with his community, he told them of the options here, and they all agreed that they would come back here. And eventually, as I said before, on the 6th of October, the first 3 monks were sent. And ever since that time, we have been getting water from the spring that he identified in the hills. Mm-hmm.
So you don't get public water?
No.
That is awesome. That is absolutely awesome. Let's talk a little bit about yourself, if I may. Let's go into everyday living, and everyday living is sometimes we make commitments that we fall back on, and it's hard for us to live through. But I would imagine as a father that it is one of the biggest commitments that you had to have made and stick through for the past umpteen years. When did you realize that this is the path you wanted your life to take?
Well, actually, the family in which I grew up was a fairly religious family. My father was quite committed to the church, and my mother too was quite involved, in various activities. At home, we would come together in the evening to say our family prayer. I think that instilled in me a certain sense of God and the importance of prayer in one's life. Next to where I grew up, there was a monastery as well of women. It is a cloistered group of contemplative nuns who follow the way of Saint Dominic. Now they are called Dominican nuns. And from around the age of 8, I served as an altar server. And I went to Mass regularly there. And seeing these women who had dedicated themselves to this way of life, it gave me probably an inner love for this way of life. Subsequently, around the time of schooling, my secondary school, I started to read books by a monk called Thomas Merton. And the way he wrote about monastic life instilled in me again a certain desire for this way of life. After leaving school, I obtained a job in a brewery, Carib Brewery. Carib is our most popular beer here.
Yes.
And I served in the accounts department. And although when I joined Carib, I did not like the taste of beer because beer has a very bitter taste, I think working in that setting and smelling the fumes and offering, eventually I acquired a love for beer. And even in the company, we were given 2 free beers a day if you could have taken it, you know.
Wow.
And at the end of the month, you were allowed to take a case of beer free home. Wow. So that you can share with your family.
Okay.
So I enjoyed working there. Actually, I made friends, you know, we developed relationships, you know, we organized parties among ourselves, and I really did enjoy my time at Carib Brewery. But while I was there, from time to time, there would be a little nagging within me, a little nudging, you know, that maybe for me, life would probably be what I need to do is not just making money, enjoying life, making friends, but there was something calling me to live this way of life, and not necessarily here at Mount St. Benedict. So I embarked on a correspondence program where I would write to various monasteries all over the world, Argentina, Chile, England, the United States, Australia, getting information about these communities. And they would send me literature, and then after a while I will just put it on the back burner and continue with my life, you know.
How old were you around this time?
Well, I joined this monastery at the age of 30.
So between 0 and 30 you lived a normal life, for lack of a better term.
A normal life. I grew up in a normal family. My parents had 6 children, 3 boys and 3 girls. You know, we had a beautiful relationship. My sister was a little elder than I am, one of my sisters, and sometimes she would invite me to the parties that her girls would organize at the convent over the school, you know. At the time I wasn't such a good dancer, but then while I, you know, met these girls, I made an effort to learn how to dance, and eventually I became quite good at it, you know.
Well, you know, I find it quite interesting because I went to a Catholic school, and I always thought that that the nuns there were
born so.
Well, they were born so, man. If you find, like, as soon as they left high school or whatever, they just ended up there, until one day we got to speaking with one of them, and she too had a worldly life before she joined it. So I thought I'd bring it up so that people can see that you can make change and you can be committed to those changes.
Yeah.
What was the trend? Before I ask you that, did you have girlfriends, and were you thinking between maybe 20 and 30 to get married and all that kind of stuff?
Yes, at least that was one of the very positive images that I had. My father and my mother were good Christians, and they raised a beautiful family, and I think I had something that I could have used as an example, as an impetus. So actually I saw myself on several occasions as marrying some young lady and raising a lovely Christian family, you know. So for me that was one of the options. And yes, I did have girlfriends. Actually, I think when I actually joined here, I had to let my girlfriend know that this was the choice I'm making. But
what was that transition like?
Well, for me, this monastery was not love at first sight. It was a gradual, it was as if I was seduced.
Okay.
Little by little, you know. It was a very gradual thing. So I cannot tell you that when I came here, this was exactly what I wanted for all of my life, and this is answer. No, because even when I was here, I was, you know, sort of threading slightly, thinking that maybe did I make the right choice, you know.
But what was the transition like from your girlfriend? I mean, I would imagine that you're a Trinidadian man, you're a Caribbean man. At 30 years old, you're in the prime of your fun, if you want to call it that. You work at Carib Brewery, where you said you get a case of beer every month, and you can drink as many beers as you want. And I would imagine that you obviously were not a stupid man. You worked in the account section, so you must have had girls. How did you break it to your girlfriend? You know, babe, I have to choose the church over you. I mean, what was that like?
Okay, well, again, that was rather gradual, and it was respectful, you know. Okay. It was gradual. Everything for me was gradual. My experience was not like St. Paul, who was thrown off his horse on the way to Damascus. There was nothing dramatic about it.
Okay.
And actually, when I came here, I was interviewed by the novice master as part of my process of wanting to come here. And, you know, I told him that, you know, there's something in me saying that I'm not sure if this is the right step I'm taking, that, you know, I could see myself, for example, raising a beautiful Christian family, making some young lady rather happy. And there is something nudging me all the time that, you know, maybe I should do this with my life. So he listened to me and he said, well, you know, if you go and you get married today, you will be on your bed with your wife and you would probably make her very unhappy, because while you are on your bed and she is expecting great things from you, you would be thinking, what would it have been like if I had responded to that nudge and come to Mount St. Benedict to become a monk? And if it is that you eventually decide that you're going to leave your wife to come here, we would not accept you, because we would respect that you had made a commitment to this woman. You may have had children. He said, however, if you would just to explore that nudge and come here for a while to try it, if after a year or two you decide that this is not for you, you would still have no children, you would be free, you could go out there and get married, and you would probably make your wife much happier, because you know you would have put to rest a constant nudge within you. So actually, when I joined the monastery, I came really to try the life. And I have been trying for the past 29 or 28 years. I'm still trying.
Been loving it.
So I think it grew naturally on me. It grew. So therefore, little by little, I distanced myself from that nudge, and I came here. The bell that you are hearing is a bell calling the brothers to our midday prayer, but we can continue.
Okay. Do you get urges to go back at any point in time to your worldly life?
At the early days, you know, because I think what had happened is that working at Carrier Brewery, I had my own vehicle. I had a sense of independence. I could have gone where I wanted to go. I could have picked up myself and go to the beach this morning and do what I wanted to do. I could have gone to this party. I could have, you know, I had a certain sense of freedom. When I came here, I joined the monastery restricted under a rule and an abbot and a community. So I am no longer my own man. So therefore, at the beginning, it was a little difficult.
How did you cope with those urges?
Well, I tried to stay focused on what I was given to do here. Because in the formation, you are given classes in the spirituality. You are given certain types of work. So I was working on the farm. I was doing woodwork, you know, so you are given an exposure of different work. One of our mottos is ora et labora.
Okay.
Ora means prayer, labora means work. It's two Latin words, ora et labora, and that keeps us focused. So I rallied through that period, and as I said, little by little, the life grew on me, you know. I was like seduced.
Now, do you still feel that you don't have any freedom?
No, I think that what has happened is that as I have grown in this life, I have seen that I have a new type of freedom, a freedom to serve God, to serve the people, and I understand freedom at a different level.
Let me ask you one more thing. What did you do with all your earthly possessions when you came here? You probably didn't have much, you were 30.
I had a property in Toko.
Okay.
I gave it to my family. I had a car. I sold it. I had some bank accounts and one or two like investments, and I disposed of them. And before I came here, I gave to my mother what she wanted, you know, what I felt I should have given her. And I donated a small portion here. So that in the monastery, we do not have any personal goods. So even this, I cannot tell you this is my habit. This is called a habit, or these are my sandals, you know, or this is my pen. Our thinking is more in the hour. This belongs to all of us.
Wait, so another...
So therefore I don't have a private bank.
Another father can wear these same sandals?
Yes, if it can fit him.
No.
So the point is, we base our life on the Acts of the Apostles, the early Christian community. If you read in the Acts of the Apostles, chapters 2 and 4, you would see how the early Christians came together, they sold what they had, they brought the money to the apostles, and no one was ever in need because everyone was given according to his needs. It is something like the communist way of life. And somebody once said that to be a true communist, you have to be a monk. Because the same thinking of Lenin and Karl Marx and Stalin and these people is that we don't have anything on our own. Everything is owned by the state. Here now, everything is owned by the community. And so if I need something, I go to the common fund.
So let's say that there is, so am I to imagine that inside the monastery there is one huge closet with loads of habits and you just wear whichever one fits you?
No, what happens is that you are assigned. So for example, when you make your vows, you are given a habit.
Okay.
Your measurements are taken. So therefore this is for you, your use.
Yes.
But it doesn't mean to say it is your property.
Good.
It belongs to...
Kind of like your passport.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Kind of like your passport.
So it's one of the principles of Benedictine monastic life is that we own everything in common. As I said, it's something like the communist way of life when it's lived well, but if you had read Animal Farm, you will see eventually some animals are more equal than others.
Yes.
So sometimes it doesn't really work, but to live this communist way of life, you must have a type of love within you. So we are all here because of love.
What we're going to do, we're going to take a quick break and come back with the father right here from Mount St. Benedict.
Let's get ready to rumble! Y'all ready for this?
Get serious. Get bop.
Buster. They see you and how you're living. Always a star. Yes, you live in color to the limit. Large and in charge. Yes, that's why you rock with Buster. Refreshing range of colorful flavors. Always a star, never the audience. You run things never run you. Yes, you are the life of it, not just a part of it. Your life is never black and white. Live in full color. Buster.
Looking for quick and easy baking? Try Grace Baking Powder. It comes in a convenient 10-gram packet. Grace Baking Powder. Great for my pancakes, waffles, fry jack, flour tortillas, muffins, waffles. Wow! How quick and easy. Grace Baking Powder. So convenient, easy to store. You love it. It's good enough and fresh whenever you need it. Another fine product brought to you by Grace. For recipes, go to gracerecipes.com. It's time for Grace. Grace, bringing good taste to life.
Seaboard Marine, a leader in ocean transportation, is now offering services to Belize. Offering the fastest and most reliable transit to Belize, Seaboard Marine is the #1 choice for shipping. We offer shipping of less than container loads, such as boxes, barrels, and chilled cargo, full, dry, and refrigerated containers, project cargo, heavy and special equipment, vehicles, and more. We have sailings from Canada, Houston, New Orleans, Miami, the Caribbean, Central and South America. Seaboard Marine offers the most competitive rates with a fast and dependable shipping schedule, excellent customer service, and a convenient location with plenty of parking. Visit our office, website, or call us for more information.
From the company who brought you Buen Dia freeze-dried coffee, Gris 100% pure Colombian coffee is made in Colombia, considered among the finest coffee regions around the world. Naturally freeze-dried, Gris 100% pure Colombian coffee is exposed to less heat than other coffee brands to preserve the flavor and aroma to make the perfectly convenient cup of coffee you deserve. Have a buenos dias with Gris.
For recipes, go to gracerecipes.com. It's time for Grace. Grace, bringing good taste to life.
Si tu perro es de raza grande o pequeña, dale Rambocan, Rambocan. Si es delgado o robusto, pelo largo, pelo corto, dale Rambocan, Rambocan. Rambocan en su presentación para adultos o cachorros, dale Rambocan. Para que tu perro tenga piel sana y pelo brillante, huesos y dientes fuertes, músculos resistentes y mejor digestión, dale lo mejor. Dale Rambocan, salud y vigor para tu perro.
Welcome back to Morning Matters right here from Mount St. Benedict. Father John in with us this morning. Father John, how you doing?
So far, so good.
So far, so good. All right, let me jump right into some matters with you because, you know, I figure you are the man for the job. All right, let's see what we have here. I am a married man, but I don't love my wife anymore. So I walked out of my house and moved in with someone else that I love. Did you think I made the right choice?
I think the crucial word there is anymore. He doesn't love his wife anymore. What that means is that he loved his wife at one point.
Yes.
And it happens in several relationships. The wine runs out. The wine of human kindness, the wine of understanding. And I think marriage particularly is something that doesn't even come naturally, because each of us is an individual on our own. We were born on our own and we will go to the grave on our own. Marriage does not come naturally. Marriage is something that we each need to work at. And I do not know how long this man was living with his wife, but the question he may need to ask himself is whether he paid particular attention to the work of the marriage. In other words, once you put the ring on the finger of the young lady, you think you have her in the bag and you can do anything you want. I'm not saying that that applies to this gentleman. What I want to know from him is whether he took time to develop. I mean, if you get married to someone, normally you would not do that because you hate the person or that someone forced you into it, but there must have been some connectivity. Now, what may need to be done, he may need to go back to try to see if he can recapture what made him live with this woman in the first place, and why did they drift apart? Was it that they were not working at it in the simple things of life?
But do you think that it is worth or even possible that he can rekindle that, considering that he's left and started a new chapter?
Just on the surface it seems no. On the surface it seems no. And it may be very difficult. But for people listening to this program who may not be in his position as yet, I think they need to take stock and look at their own present situations, and simply giving your wife a phone call during the course of the day. You know, have you just abandoned her when you go to work? You know, would you, take her out somewhere? Or does she just have to cook your food and make up, and do everything in the house? Do you treat her as a servant? Do you treat her as a mother? Some men are not really looking for a wife, when they get married. They're looking for a mother. A woman who can do the exact things, who can cook like their mother, who can look out for them like their mother, and they don't grow out of that. And there are many factors in a marriage. Honestly, I would have to speak to this gentleman if I had to find out more about it. My gut feeling is that he is making a wrong decision, but I do not know all the facts.
All right. I am in love with this girl. I probably have to read this in proper English, shouldn't I? Okay, I'll read it the way it is and then I'll translate it for you. I'm in love with this girl. Me and she go out, but she don't love me the way I love her. What should I do?
Well,
I guess you understood that.
yeah, definitely. I mean, is this person imposing himself on this young lady, or is it something that could eventually develop? In other words, love often grows. And I have heard, for example, in Trinidad, we have a tradition among some of our old Indian families of arranged marriages. And I've met someone recently who never met her husband before she got married to him.
Wow.
She did not know him. Everything was arranged, so she didn't even love him. But after several years of marriage, she can now say that I love this man. Okay? Love is something that can grow. There is also love at first sight. So there are several types of love.
Father John, you believe in love at first sight?
Well, maybe until you give them a second look. But actually, love at first sight does happen. In other words, there is a connection that, you have seen someone and something clicks. And that has to grow as well, because it's often just on the surface, This young man who is dating this other person, he gets the impression that she does not love him in the same way.
Yes.
Now that doesn't mean that she will never love him in the same way. So in other words, it can grow. But he has to discern whether or not he is spinning top in mud, whether there is any hope here, or whether he should pursue. Because you don't want to keep wasting your time.
As much as you are a father, Father John, you have good Caribbean term. The man say, wonder not if he's spinning top in mud. All right? Yeah. That can't go nowhere. All right. But once somebody says that they might not, like you might not love me the way I love you, you have to realize that people express love differently.
Yes.
And you sometimes just have to meet the person where they are. That's just it.
Yeah.
If I mean, for you, love might mean that you will pray for me every day and you will make me breakfast and you're going to do all of that fun stuff. And for me, it might just be, just buy me a car and get me some nice clothes and put me in a nice house and give me some spending money, and I'll say, Father John, love me.
Yeah.
So you have to define what love is for each.
Definitely. And you do not want to cheapen a relationship. So if you are getting involved with me just because I have a big salary and I can give you everything you want and I can send you to the nail specialist and the hairdresser every other week, I don't think it will last too long. In other words, just getting married to someone for the material benefits makes absolutely no sense.
I agree with you.
There must be something within, and there must be some connection.
Absolutely. I have a man and I love him, but he don't want me to have any friends or go anywhere.
I think that is a very, very sad state of affairs. In order to make a marriage or any relationship work, there must be certain spaces in your togetherness.
Yes.
It is like the pillars of the temple. They stand apart, but together they hold up the temple. Now, if these two pillars come too close to each other and you're always under the other person's skin, the whole temple crashes. So there must be some level of distance, some level of trust. And if that does not exist, then eventually the temple will crash.
I want to know what to do. I have someone that I love so much and will do anything for, and I don't want to leave him because I have love for my ex, but he doesn't do me so much wrong, and he is in jail for years. Tell me what to do. I'm 26 with no kids. What to do? I have someone that I love very much and I will do anything for, and I don't want to leave him because I have love for my ex.
I think
I'm trying to figure out who's in jail.
Well, this is the boyfriend that she had. Her ex is in the jail. Huh?
Her ex might be in jail.
Yes,
okay.
Her ex is in jail. I think she has to think realistically. There may be a love between herself and her ex who is in jail, but if he's going to spend the next 50 years in jail, by the time he's ready for her, she may not be good for herself. She might be in the nursing home.
Well, not only that, distance and time, and in this case, jail, change people.
Yeah.
It's like you changed when you came here.
Definitely.
You saw things differently.
Oh yes,
You started
I had to.
believe
It's a different culture.
Exactly, and that is what jail does for you. When you go into jail, the you that went into jail is not the you that comes out of jail.
But it can also mellow you. Look at Nelson Mandela.
It could. It very well could.
Yeah.
So, but what I'm saying then that she will meet a new man regardless.
Yes.
When the man comes out of jail, even if
She may not know him.
He's a different man.
Yeah.
Especially if he spends years in jail.
Yeah.
So I would say, if you feel that you are in love with him, it proves one thing, that the man you are with now, you're not really in love with him. Because if you were in love with the free man that is available in front of you, you wouldn't be thinking about the man in jail.
Right.
So dismiss the man that you now have. That
Yes.
would be my opinion.
Yeah.
And the man that is in jail, maybe you want to continue to nurture a relationship with him, depending on how long he's going to be there. Or you might want to say, you know what, single life might be what I need so that I can fix me before I go anywhere else.
Yes. And that is what she probably has to attend to, addressing issues within herself.
Certainly.
Because it's only when you are strong that you can be of any good to your partner. If you are in a relationship and you are consistently depending on your partner for emotional support and to tell you how much he loves you, you know, it may not go very far either. You have to have a certain sense of your dignity, a certain sense of your beauty. So without any partner, you know that you're good looking.
For sure. I lived with this guy for 10 years. He started to bat on me with another woman. And I know about one, and he have in PG. But now I find out that he have more than one. And he always lied to me for go sleep out with next woman. When I call or text, he not answer me. And with all that, I still love him. What am I to do?
I think that is a lost cause. She should really, you know, pull up her socks, attend to herself, and get on with her life.
Father John said, pull up herself and attend to herself. On that note, we're going to take a break and be back.
Buster. They see you and how you're living. Always a star. Yes, you live in color to the limit. Large and in charge. Yes, that's why you rock with Buster. Refreshing range of colorful flavors. Always a star, never the audience. You run things never run you. Yes, you are the life of it, not just a part of it. Your life is never black and white. Live in full color. Buster.
Let's get ready to rumble! Y'all ready for this?
Get serious. Get bopped.
From the company who brought you Buen Dia freeze-dried coffee, Gris 100% pure Colombian coffee is made in Colombia, considered among the finest coffee regions around the world. Naturally freeze-dried, Gris 100% pure Colombian coffee is exposed to less heat than other coffee brands to preserve the flavor and aroma to make the perfectly convenient cup of coffee you deserve. Have a buenos dias with Grace.
For recipes, go to gracerecipes.com. It's time for Grace. Grace, bringing good taste to life.
Si tu perro es de raza grande o pequeña, dale un Rambocan, Rambocan. Si es delgado o robusto, pelo largo, pelo corto, dale Rambocan, Rambocan. Rambocan en su presentación para adultos o cachorros. Dale Rambocan para que tu perro tenga piel sana y pelo brillante, huesos y dientes fuertes, músculos resistentes y mejor digestión. Dale lo mejor. Dale Rambocan. Salud y vigor para tu perro.
Looking for quick and easy baking? Try Grace Baking Powder. It comes in a convenient 10-gram packet. Grace Baking Powder. Great for my pancakes, waffles, fry jack, flour tortillas, muffins, waffles. Wow! How quick and easy. Grace Baking Powder. So convenient, easy to store. You love it. It's good enough and fresh whenever you need it. Another fine product brought to you by Grace. For recipes, go to gracerecipes.com. It's time for Grace. Grace, bringing good taste to life.
Seaboard Marine, a leader in ocean transportation, is now offering services to Belize. Offering the fastest and most reliable transit to Belize, Seaboard Marine is the #1 choice for shipping. We offer shipping of less than container loads, such as boxes, barrels, and chilled cargo, full, dry, and refrigerated containers, project cargo, heavy and special equipment, vehicles, and more. We have sailings from Canada, Houston, New Orleans, Miami, the Caribbean, Central and South America. Seaboard Marine offers the most competitive rates with a fast and dependable shipping schedule, excellent customer service, and a convenient location with plenty of parking. Visit our office, website, or call us for more information.
Welcome back to the third and final segment of Morning Matters. Father John in with us. Father John, everything going well?
So far,
What an unusual day, or is this a normal day?
actually, every day is a normal day, but every day is different.
I like that. I absolutely like that. Why do you think people make decisions and then change their minds but don't tell the person that they made the commitment to that their mind has been changed?
I think it has to do a bit with the level of maturity, because ultimately we need to be honest with people who we are with. And if it is that I'm not getting the same vibes from you that I had 2 years ago, I need to let you know that. I think honesty, as the old people would say, is the best policy. And honesty in any relation would help to make that relation much more healthy.
Lack of honesty. Good morning, Rhonda. I had a baby for this guy. Through my 9 months, he never wanted to see me. Now I don't have the baby. He wants to see me now. I guess she's supposed to say, no, I don't have the baby. He wants to see me now. What am I to do?
I think in relationships we need to take people as they are and accept situations as they arise, accept the consequences. She was in this relationship with this man and she got pregnant. He now, it seems, does not want to accept the responsibility. He seems to want this young lady to address his own need for pleasure and to get on with life. But once a baby was on the horizon, he took a back seat. So that shows you that he's not responsible and he's not thinking of the girl, he's only thinking of his own enjoyment. Once the baby is no longer on the horizon, he wants to get back with the young lady because, again, he wants to explore the possibility of pleasure and so on. So I don't think that it is a healthy relationship and she should not accept him into her life again.
Father John, she has the baby.
She has the baby?
She has the baby.
Oh, I thought she lost the baby.
Yeah, it's good Creole for you. She now has the baby. When she was pregnant, he was nowhere to be seen. Now that she's gotten the baby, now that the baby is here, he wants to be around now.
Yes, well, honestly, I still am not happy with that, because I think during the time of pregnancy of any woman, it's a very delicate time, and if it is that someone is responsible, the father of this person, he should have taken an interest in her during the pregnancy.
Well, I agree with you halfway, and maybe this is going to make for good entertainment. And the reason I agree with you is that yes, he should have done that, but that is behind us now. It is present. The present situation is now. Maybe at that time he was not ready to be a father. Sometimes we get pregnant, but as women we have to adapt and adjust, and we have to be ready for that pregnancy. And while the baby is growing inside of us, we have to be making ourselves ready. Men don't have that physical attachment to the child, so maybe he wasn't planning on that, and that kind of threw him off. And now he might be very ready to be a father to this child and maybe a boyfriend to this woman. I agree that you might not want to give him the opportunity to be a boyfriend to you.
Well, if she thinks that he has grown, maybe through that 9 months of pregnancy he was able to think through himself. If she can discern through her conversations with him that he has matured and he's willing now to take on the responsibility, by all means she should accept him. But I think it would be a difficult call for her to make.
Well, maybe what she can do though is start by allowing him to be a father to the child.
Yes.
And not get herself emotionally attached
That's
to
a
him.
good plan.
Because then she can monitor his behavior based on that.
Yes.
If he comes around, he takes care of the child, he sits with the child, then you know that he is ready for at least one level of the commitment. And then maybe if you want, you can go from there.
Sure.
But
yeah, that sounds like a plan.
What does it say?
Excellent.
Never be anxious for anything. So
Yeah.
when you see the man come at the door, don't get anxious and try and jump in with him right away.
Yeah.
Take it time.
See how he relates with the baby.
Slow your roll.
Yeah.
This one says, my ex says that I am vindictive because I don't want him to see the children in my house. Do you think I am?
Well, she may not be, depending on the human qualities of the father. In other words, if he was abusive and by exposing these children to him, they would experience that type, I think she has to be cautious. But being a father, he's the only father. He does have a right of access, and she should honor that, but she needs probably to monitor it. He thinks that she's being vindictive. She may not be vindictive because she may have seen some behavioral patterns in his own life that she does not want to expose the children to. She may not be vindictive, but she probably needs to be a little more open to allow him that space, and she can judge whether it is healthy or not.
And I believe, based on the little information that she sends, that maybe she is taking her own experience. Like maybe he was abusive to her. Some people
and she thinks that could.
But being an abusive husband does not necessarily make you an abusive father.
That's right.
Right?
And the children would need to know at some point who is their father, yes, and come to respect him, whether or not he is an abusive man, whether he's an alcoholic. They would need to respect him, and it is important that at some point the children do have a relationship, but how close that relationship will be will depend on the nature of this gentleman and whether she thinks that she can trust him with her children.
You need to be open and fair, and in you being open and fair, the answers will come, I think. Father John, I don't want to keep you any longer. I'm sure that there's things going on inside that monastery that you got to take care of.
Definitely.
You are a boss inside there. There's God and then there's you right inside there. So I have to say thank you so much for stopping in, allowing us to get this chance to speak with you this morning. Is there anything that you would, last word that you'd like to leave with us?
I think for each one of us, there must be a search for true meaning of human existence. We are often carried away by the externals, the bright lights, the cars, the houses, the material things in life. But as a follower of Saint Benedict, and as one who rejected that type of hedonism and materialism, my message to all you listeners is that you need to take stock of what is the essential, what is the one thing necessary, what is the most important thing in life, and if I were to offer an answer, it is God.
Thank you so much for your time. Guys, until next time, I definitely encourage you to take care of yourselves and each other. This is Rhonda Crichton along with
John Pereira.
Saying goodbye.
Buster. They see you and how you're living. Always a star. Yes, you live in color to the limit. Large and in charge. Yes, that's why you rock with Buster. Refreshing range of colorful flavors. Always a star, never the audience. You run things never run you. Yes, you are the life of it, not just a part of it. Your life is never black and white. Live in full color. Buster.
Let's get ready to rumble! Y'all ready for this?
Get serious. Get bopped.
From the company who brought you Buendia freeze-dried coffee, Gris 100% pure Colombian coffee is made in Colombia, considered among the finest coffee regions around the world. Naturally freeze-dried, Gris 100% pure Colombian coffee is exposed to less heat than other coffee brands to preserve the flavor and aroma to make the perfectly convenient cup of coffee you deserve. Have a buenos dias with Grace.
For recipes, go to gracerecipes.com. It's time for Grace. Grace, bringing good taste to life.
Si tu perro es de raza grande o pequeña, dale un Rambocan, Rambocan. Si es delgado o robusto, pelo largo, pelo corto, dale un Rambocan, Rambocan. Rambocan en su presentación para adultos o cachorros. Dale Rambocan para que tu perro tenga piel sana y pelo brillante, huesos y dientes fuertes, músculos resistentes y mejor digestión. Dale lo mejor. Dale Rambocan, salud y vigor para tu perro.
Looking for quick and easy baking? Try Grace Baking Powder. It comes in a convenient 10-gram packet. Grace Baking Powder. Great for my pancakes, waffles, fry jack, flour tortillas, muffins, waffles. Wow! How quick and easy. Grace Baking Powder. So convenient, easy to store. You love it. It's good enough and fresh whenever you need it. Another fine product brought to you by Grace. For recipes, go to gracerecipes.com. It's time for Grace. Grace, bringing good taste to life.
Seaboard Marine, a leader in ocean transportation, is now offering services to Belize. Offering the fastest and most reliable transit to Belize, Seaboard Marine is the #1 choice for shipping. We offer shipping of less than container loads, such as boxes, barrels, and chilled cargo, full, dry, and refrigerated containers, project cargo, heavy and special equipment, vehicles, and more. We have sailings from Canada, Houston, New Orleans, Miami, the Caribbean, Central and South America. Seaboard Marine offers the most competitive rates with a fast and dependable shipping schedule, excellent customer service, and a convenient location with plenty of parking. Visit our office, website, or call us for more information.